Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. You cannot sincerely say this to your loved ones or the loved one, I love you, today, and tomorrow say, I hate you, I don't love you anymore. It's impossible. It's either you lied yesterday or you lied today, or both times you lie. Because you can't just change overnight your love for something or someone. It's very hard because you see, love is not something that you just have as a spark. Love is a multitude of things, that you appreciate, respect, and like about and understand about a person. It's not one thing. You know what I mean? That's lust. So you love, and it can't overnight hate someone or don't love anymore. That means you love that person for one thing, and that cannot be something that you can really lose in 24 hours or 12 hours. I'm generalizing, obviously. Why I started with this? I started with this because we've been hearing about the F-16s, those fighter jets designed in 1970s by the United States of America, that they are fantastic fighter jets. I never piloted one, so I don't know, I can't tell you. All I learned about it, obviously, is from other pilots, experts, technicians, and so on. So all I can tell you is that plane that was designed in 1970s was updated, upgraded, but it's still the main fuselage, the main idea is 1970s. And I thought it can't possibly be as performant as an airplane that was designed, let's say, in the last decade or so, because it's of the technology. Other things you learned, other things you put on, you can shape, you can change. So up to yesterday, everybody loved F-16s, including the Ukrainians, and they all wanted the F-16s. They didn't want the MiG-29s, they didn't want anything else. They wanted the F-16s. Guess what? Today, they don't want the F-16s. Now we find out the F-16s actually are garbage. Or at least I don't come to say it that way. It's my, way of analyzing whatever they say, because they say it in a weasel way. But basically that's what they say. So up till yesterday, F-16s were A-OK for Ukraine. Today, no. They want F-35s. So F-35s are good now. F-16s, no more. Out. I made a few videos on the F-16s, and one of them was on May 22nd, one May 21st, and it says that a weasel from Telegraph feels Russian pilot scared of death of the F-16s. Well, I explained why there's no reason to be scared of F-16s in this video. And again, here they tell us that Ukrainian pilots are trained on F-16s, which I think would be foreign pilots, not the Ukrainian pilots. So nevertheless, let's go back here to the article, from the New Voice of Ukraine from today, May 31st, where they tell us that F-16s are not needed anymore because they're not good enough. So F-16 maintenance may make fighters not worth the cost. So it's a cost-benefit, supposedly thing, but it's a maintenance. F-35s are preferable. Military expert tells us this. So this is the first push for dropping the F-16s, getting the F-35s. I will just give you a few cons or points against the F-16s. One, they need longer takeoff. Airfield. Second, that needs to be really, really clean, like squeaky clean, because supposedly it has a big intake, a mouth, and if it sucks anything from there, it just and explodes. And the other one is supposedly the very precarious, very, how should I put it, flimsy, landing gear of F-16s. So again, if it's the airstrip is not clean, boom. and the fact that it was built in 1970s. All right, I think it was designed in 1976, around something like that, finished, and then the first flight, the maiden flight, was in 1978. 78, 88, 98, 2008, 2018. That's making about what, 45 years old in flight. So it's a bye-bye plane with all the updates. Those are just a few reasons why. Now, let's go back to this article and see. Now, all of a sudden, they wake up that, hey, that's an old plane. And you're going to find out why. And I'm quoting, the problem with F-16, which we were not told so far, U.S. fourth generation multi-role fighter, is the following. These aircraft are extremely expensive to operate and maintain. Oh, do you mean like the Kalashnikovs? No. And I'm quoting, what you get for this huge amount of money spent on their operation and maintenance is too little. What do you mean? Money is not an issue, my friends. US will print and will, will gonna use their keyboard to push how many zeros you want. There's not an issue, so don't give me that one. The US-made HIMARS artillery rocket systems is equipped with GLRMS munitions, which, he says, are as effective as a JDAM bombs of the F-16 fighter jets. So you just realize that? One HIMARS system can drop on enemy heads 10 times more such munitions per day than one F-16 aircraft, the expert says. So why wasn't this taken into consideration then? We just found out? Was this expert just excavated from a grave yesterday or something? Was he allowed to speak only this morning? They knew all this and they kept it away from us. What was the hype? To see how the Russians will react? Cooper, that's Johnny Cooper or whatever, Gary Cooper, also said he assumes that Ukraine may receive obsolete fighter jets. And I'm quoting, you get an F-16 fighter jet, train your air crews, pilots and ground staff for 4 to 6 months to operate them. But 6 months later, all the F-16s fall apart because they were produced 40 years ago and have exhausted their lifespan. What? How come we just found out this one? I was talking about this a long time ago. How about you just came today, wasn't it today, the 31st of May, Mr. Cooper, Gary Cooper, to tell us this? You didn't take this into consideration so far? Were those people dumb? Did you know that? So, have exhausted their lifespan. I was talking about this, so I must be an expert, or more than expert, because I was first, and this expert is just today coming to terms with this reality. And now, it would be better if Ukraine received aircraft like the Swedish-made fourth-generation fighter jet, the Saab 39 Gripen, the US strike fighter F-18 Hornet, or the US F-35 Lightning II Striker fighters, as they would be most effective in the fight against Russia, he said. And I'm quoting, the F-35 is the newest stealth fighter bomber of the US ground forces, the NATO air forces, and the Israeli air force, the expert said. And I'm quoting, anything less really won't be effective against Russia. Why? Because such aircraft can really penetrate through Russian air defense, fly into the disputed airspace, which is protected by Russian air defense, and operate in it. The F-16s won't be able to do that. Gripen won't be able to do that. The fourth-generation pan-European fighters, Eurofighter Typhoon, won't be able to do that either. So, the conclusion? This is the plane, the F-35. What? 35? Is that what it is? Yes, that's what we need now. So, my friends, what's going on here? Do you think these guys just found out yesterday, Mr. Cooper realized that this morning, that actually the F-16s are no good? Where was all this hype? I said this before. I think it's a crime, knowingly providing some weapons that are old in order to send them and have people operate them, crews, Ukrainian crews, or whatever other crews, not Tom Cruise, operate those and go and fight the Russians. They will blow them in no time because those guys have more advanced systems to detect them and them up. That's a crime. It's like you send someone with a knife against someone with an AK-47 loaded. In plain daylight, I'm coming to hurt you. Come over, Redo. Come closer. Yeah, come closer. Come closer. Yeah. Okay, too close. That's what it is. That's a crime. So putting people on Abrams 1 tanks, I think it's still a crime because they tried to modify it. Putting those guys on Leopard 1 tanks, not 2, 1 tanks, which was built in 68 or 64, 1964 now, not 2064, 1964, it's a crime. Send them on those tanks on wheels, the French BS, it's a crime. All these things, when you send people with knives to fight against someone that has a much better chick than you, that's a crime, because you know that the chances of success of your men is almost zero. So I'm glad this Mr. Gary Cooper, took some time from his acting career, came over and said, well, maybe we should send them F-35s. Send them F-35s, but they will not send them F-35s. I tell you why. Because they're afraid they will be demasked by the Russians, because they're gonna blow some of them, bum. They're gonna fall down and gonna show them to the public. These are the stealth bombers, zero power. And then what are these guys gonna do? They're gonna lose a lot of money. Remember, this war is not only about, this and that. It's about making money, about making commercials. How do you make commercials? You send over that Patriot. You say that those Patriot destroy all the hypersonic missiles. You can't hit them back whatsoever. They're so good that the Russians cannot hit them back. Therefore, they're the best. Buy them from me. That's the whole purpose. Have you heard of any HIMARS being blown up by the Russians? The Russians said they blown up a few, but the other guys said, no, zero. Is it possible? No. It's almost impossible to believe or to even assess that no HIMARS was blown up yet in a year. Almost a year. I don't believe that whatsoever. Do you believe that? Okay then. Give me $20,000 today. I will give it to you back with 3,000% interest rate. I'll meet you tomorrow at noon, wherever you say. Promise. Now, if you believe that, you should believe me too. Obviously, don't believe me, so don't believe those weasels, because they lied to you so many times. They have interest vested in all this. Yeah, F-35s. Send them F-35s. I dare you. I triple dare you. And they will not send it. Not because, they will find all kind of justifications like they find with F-16s. They will not send them because they will be pop. And there's some other risks as well involved with that. I covered those in my previous videos. So, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. Why did these guys wait so long to tell us this? Something that we already knew. What changed?